Hello and welcome to the grand finale, the big one. The grand finale of Twelfth Night, Act 5. There's only one scene. It's a big scene though, but not that long really in the world of things. But I'm going to say right now, because not everyone listens to the end, if you've listened to every single one of these, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Hope you found it useful. And I need to start thinking about what my next one's going to be, actually. But anyway, that's beside the point. I will move going on in, oh dear, forward. Here we go. So, Act 5, Scene 1. What to press that? Anyway, professional. Anyway, let's have a look. Act 5, Scene 1. We have, again, mid-conversation. We got Feste coming in. And Fabian's desperate to see the letter that Malvolio has written. I'm not going to spend too long on that bit because we get to the main event starts here really, where we've got Orsino, Violet, Curio and Lords. They don't really do a lot in this scene, those other ones. Anyway, we get some great wordplay. How dost thou, my good fellow, truly, sir, the better for my foes and the worse for my friends. There's some classic Feste wordplay here. Just the contrary, the better for thy friends. There's been a huge theme in the play of opposites, haven't there, in inversions. And Feste says he's better, his enemies make him better, basically, because, marry sir, his friends, they praise me and make an ass of me. Now my foes tell me plainly I am an ass, so that my foes, sir, I profit in the knowledge of myself, and by my friends I am abused. There's wisdom in this. Feste saying his friends are nice to him, so they give a false representation of reality. Fits in with more themes of the play. And your enemies are more honest about you, so you learn from your enemies. So there's great wisdom in Feste, as we have seen throughout the play. Why this is excellent, by my troth, sir, no, though it please you to be one of my friends. So the implication is he's making an ass of him by Orsino saying he's friendly and appreciating, not friends properly, but I'm tripping over my words slightly, I feel. It's because I'm so excited to be on the last scene. I hope you are too. Feste does more of his trying to get more money out of people, so Orsino's impressed, so he gives him a coin. But that it would be double dealing, sir, you could make it another. So there's a politeness strategy here. There's also, it's like pragmatics as well. So I think I deserve double this amount of money, don't you? Oh, you give me ill counsel. Put your grace in your pocket, sir, for this once, and let your flesh and blood obey it. Forget all that. Just give me the money, effectively. Well, I will be so much a sinner to be a double dealer. There's another. Then this is more fun with pragmatics from Shakespeare here. Primo, secundo, tertio. 1, 2, 3 is a good play, and the old saying is the third pays for all. The triplex, sir, is a good tripping measure, or the bells of St. Bennet, sir, may put you in mind. 1, 2, 3. And this is a none too subtle use of pragmatics, context and implied meanings to get a third coin out of Orsino. We have, you can fool no more money out of me at this throw. If you let your lady know I am here to speak with her and bring her along with you, it may awake my bounty further. So basically, you're not going to get any more money out of me. Just go and get Olivia, and if you do that, I might give you some more money. So he's pleased with that. So as you say, let your bounty take a nap, I will awake it anon. So he's still angling for more cash. Then we have Antonio come in, so there's a great bit of, again, perception of reality here with Antonio. He's always an interesting character, as we've talked about before. They recognise him as a notorious, from their perspective, a notorious pirate. With such scatheful grapple did he make with the most noble bottom of our fleet. And I read this and I think of my favourite Assassin's Creed game, Black Flag. And I think of those brilliant bits when you're attacking the other ship and they fire the grappling hooks and you pull towards the other ship and then you jump on it and you fight. Superb game. Love it if you haven't played it. I love it. But anyway, it's funny what things remind you of. Anyway, it really makes me think of, so you're actually getting contemporary detail because Shakespeare's time actually really was the golden age of piracy. People tend to think of, like the Pirates of the Caribbean era of it. It's not very realistic anyway, but that wasn't really the high golden era of piracy. That was the last knockings of it really in the Caribbean anyway, in that kind of area. It was the last thing, and you were down to kind of psychos really and stuff like that. So Shakespeare's time is a time of pirates, like Sir Francis Drake, and he was perceived as a pirate, as I've talked about when Antonio is introduced as a character. And actually there's things here that link to all of that, actually, about perceptions and privateers and all of that good stuff. So the first officer, Orsino, that is that Antonio that took the Phoenix and her fraught, that means freight, from Candy, and this is he that did the tiger board when your young nephew Titus lost his leg. So you say this is so they see him as a pirate. So these are ships, the Phoenix and the Tiger, and in one of these raids, these pirate raids, as they would perceive it, Orsino's nephew Titus lost his leg in the battle. So Antonio is a wanted man in Illyria because he's a notorious pirate from their perspective. You get this. This is actually an interesting tautology here. Notable pirate, thou saltwater thief, because a saltwater thief is a pirate. Arr. Antonio then he basically has to account for himself. Like, why have you taken such risk to be here? This seems a bit crazy. This bit, some of this, I think you could really read it in that stereotypical pirate voice. Orsino, noble sir, be pleased that I shake off these names you give me. Antonio never yet was thief or pirate, though I confess I'm base and ground enough Orsino's enemy. A witchcraft drew me hither, that most ungrateful boy there by your side, from the rude seas enraged and foamy mouth did I redeem. A rack past hope he was. Sounds really piratey to me. But he's just explaining how he rescued who he thinks is Sebastian, because he's obviously looking at Viola, but he's thinking of, in his mind, he thinks this is Sebastian. Then lots of confusion. How can this be? As in, like, have I actually been? How could I have received money from Antonio? Like, none of this makes any sense. When came he to this town? Today, my lord, for 3 months before, not. Actually, I'm going to do the pirate voice again. Today, my lord, and for 3 months before, not in trim, not a minute's vacancy, both day and night did we keep company. Ooh, a little bit of a rhyming couplet there, actually. Didn't notice that before. So it's obviously an important line. But, of course, this is Antonio's reality. The perception of reality here is obviously wrong. And there's dramatic irony because the audience are fully in the picture. We know what's going on here. Here comes the Countess. Now heaven walks on earth, but for thee, fellow, thy words are madness. 3 months this youth hath tended upon me. But more of that anon. So this is, again, a great one for appearances as the reality. The idea that to Orsino, so what you're saying doesn't make any sense at all. This is just mad because Cesario, as I perceive him, has been with me all this time. Now, there's more mixed perceptions of reality here because Olivia comes in. Remember, she's got married to Sebastian in a whirlwind wedding, effectively, at least from Sebastian's perspective. What would my lord that he may not have, wherein Olivia may seem serviceable? Cesario, you do not keep promise with me. This is again Shakespeare using pragmatics, a sense of pragmatics here, and the implication. So the promise is about marriage, actually. But Shakespeare deliberately doesn't overtly say it straight away because you're generating some comedic suspense here, aren't you? What do you just say, Cesario? Good, my lord would speak, my duty hushes me. If it be aught to the old tune, my lord, it is fat and fulsome to mine ear as howling after music. So Olivia's saying, if you're Orsino, if you're coming here trying to romance me, I've heard it all before. And it's another nice music reference of which we had several in the play. Still so cruel, still so constant, Lord. So Orsino's still thinking he's got some kind of chance with Olivia, but there you go. Then this obviously all deteriorates really. So the idea is Orsino's so angry. The idea is I'm going to take Cesario away with me, and you'll never see him again because I know you're really fond of him. But of course, Olivia thinks she's married to him. Viola, and I most jocund, apt and willingly to you rest 1,000 deaths would die. Where goes Cesario? After him I love more than I love these eyes, more than my life, more by all moors, and e'er I shall love wife. So more rhyming here as well. So Olivia sees Viola walking off, going off with Orsino, and she's meant to be married. She thinks this is the man she's married. So what's going on? I me detested, how am I beguiled, as in deceived? Who does beguile you? Who does you wrong? Hast thou forgot thyself? Is it so long? Call forth the Holy Father. This is all drawn out for comedy, for comedy reasons. It could have been resolved a lot quicker, and certainly if certain words were said earlier. But have to call the priest to come in to explain that they're actually married. But actually, saying that, with my lord Cesario, husband, stay. So at last, Olivia says the word husband, puts it out there. Husband? Aye, husband, can he deny? So you got this nice rhetorical question there as well. Actually, lots of rhetorical questions, not rhetorical questions, lots of interrogatives here. They're not rhetorical questions. Why did I say rhetorical questions? I just meant to say interrogatives. So, yeah, hopefully your notes aren't too ruined. I could wipe and record that bit, but it's too much of a faff, I'm afraid. So hopefully it's fixed for you. So Olivia, again, for perceptions of reality, thinks Cesario's behaving in this way because he, as she perceives him, still thinks he's socially inferior to Orsino, but because she thinks that Cesario is married to her, then Cesario's social status is actually an equal now to Orsino. So you don't need to be afraid of him. You're higher social status. Take thy fortunes up, be that thou knowst thou art, and then thou art as great as thou fearst. There's also a nice parallel here with Malvolio's desire as well, isn't it? Malvolio had an idea of him climbing the social ladder through marriage. Here comes the priest. And he doesn't say much, but he just, in this very heightened kind of priestly language, overly elaborate, explains that they're married. Our contract of eternal bond of love, that means that a contract of eternal bond of love, that's marriage, confirmed by mutual joinder of your hands. Well, that's how you got married. That's one of the part of the ceremony. Attested by the holy close of lips. So they've kissed. Now, I'd heard years ago that kissing was a relatively new thing for weddings, but I think that's a load of rubbish because it's in this play here. So people must have been kissing at weddings. So I don't know, but maybe they didn't for a time in Victorian times or something. But anyway, I feel like I'm going to look that up. I don't know where I would look that up, but I think I will. Strengthened by interchangement of your rings. Again, that is another part of the ceremony. Sealed in my function by my testimony, since when my watch hath told me toward my grave I have travelled but 2 hours. Like, that's really overly elaborate way of describing it was 2 hours ago. Since when my watch hath told me toward my grave I have travelled but 2 hours. And also, you see, they did have watches in that era. I think Queen Elizabeth was the first person to have a wristwatch. But pocket watches did actually exist. It's incredible, isn't it, really? Anyway, getting distracted. Oh, thou dissembling cub, what a great insult that is. Farewell and take her, but direct thy feet where thou and I henceforth may never meet. So in a similar way to how Antonio thought he'd been betrayed by Sebastian due to misunderstanding, Orsino here thinks he's been betrayed by Cesario, but he actually hasn't. So it parallels that relationship there. It's interesting, isn't it? Shakespeare's very clever, very clever. But you know that anyway, because you've got to the final scene with me, so you definitely know that. Andrew comes in, Sir Andrew, I should say, and there's been a bit of a beating going on. Who has done this, Sir Andrew? The Count's gentleman, one Cesario. We took him for a coward, but he's the very devil incarnate. That is a different, what's that? A malapropism. Yeah, I remember the term. Using the wrong word. A malapropism. Yeah, it's a good word, that one. So more misunderstandings because actually he's been hit by Sebastian. And Sir Toby comes in. He's also been in a fight with Sebastian as well, it turns out. Oh, he's drunk, Sir Toby, an hour agone. His eyes were set at 8 in the morning. Then there's a rogue and a passy measures pavin. I hate a drunken rogue. That's ironic because So Toby is a drunken rogue himself, isn't he? Now, there's another good one here for if you're looking at crossing boundaries, and if you're looking for, if you're looking for a villain in the play, there isn't really a proper villain in the terms of you might think about Malvolio as an antagonist, but he's not really, because he's part of the subplot. He's just annoying at the start, but Shakespeare does this clever thing where he makes you feel pathos for him when he's framed into being perceived as mad, and then he's locked up and the joke goes too far. So how much of a villain really is Malvolio? Well, he's not really, is he? I think the play's closest thing you have to a villain is actually Sir Toby. Sir Toby is not a very nice man. You start off, he appears and you think, haha, he's funny, isn't it? He likes a drink, he likes to have food and laugh, and there's a little farting joke here, and he seems like a fun guy. But actually, by the time you get to this scene, you look at it and you look at Sir Toby and go, you're actually pretty nasty, aren't you? We already know he's been fleecing Sir Andrew, and Sir Andrew, he's stupid and gullible, but, well, that's not being horrible, is it? Sir Andrew's not a horrible person, he's just stupid. And Sir Toby's just been fleecing him, and here, Sir Andrew, I'll help you, Sir Toby, because we'll be dressed together. So he offers to help his friend, and dress together means receive medical treatment, bandages and stuff. Will you help an asshead and a coxcomb and a knave, a thin-faced knave, a gull? These are all pejoratives, all insults. A coxcomb is what fools wear, so he's calling him a fool, basically, a jester's hat. So, horrible, actually, Sir Toby. You're not very nice. And he's also horrible, obviously, about Malvolio, with locking him up and taunting him and everything like that. So Sir Toby isn't quite the nice, fun guy that you might think he is at the start. Interesting, isn't it? Sebastian comes in. I am sorry, madam, I've hurt your kinsman, but had it been the brother of my blood, I must have done no less with wit and safety. So Sebastian's very gentlemanly still, but so I had to fight him. I'm sorry, I know he's your own relation, but one face, one voice, one habit, and two persons. A natural perspective that is and is not. So there's a paradox built in there. That is and is not as well. So one person, but two at the same time. A paradox there. And you could actually say there's a sense of incrementum there too. Antonio, oh my dear Antonio. Oh, it's a bit of I can't even say it. It's a bit of Antonio. It's a bit of diacope there. Sorry, I couldn't say the right word. How have the hours racked and tortured me since I have lost thee? Sebastian, are you? Fear'st thou that, Antonio? How have you made division of yourself? Actually, forgot the part. How have you made division of yourself? An apple cleft in two is not more twin than these two creatures. Which is Sebastian? So the characters are almost mistaking this for a supernatural occurrence. How can there be two people at the same time? It's the same person in two places. This is incredible. And in Twelfth Night, Sebastian and Viola are twins, but they're something that doesn't exist actually in nature, which is identical twins who aren't the same gender. Like, that can't actually happen physically in nature. It's scientifically impossible, but not theatrically impossible, so that's why we have it in this play. But they look really similar. And in Shakespeare's time, they would look more similar because of the makeup and the distance. And in our modern age, like with close-ups and things on stage, they were probably Shakespeare's time as well. They were well versed in the conventions of the theatre. They were more into listening to the play rather than watching the play. They were less visually oriented the way they were watching it as well. So yeah, it'd be easy for them to kind of accept it. And in modern versions, they often will you can use special effects to have the same actor play Sebastian and Viola. You can do it like if it's a film, if it's a recorded version. Can't do that on stage, obviously. But anyway, normally you just have to suspend disbelief. So we have quite a drawn out deduction of the brother and sister realising that they are actually both survived, because the other one thought the other one was dead. So they drop all the old Messaline, the country they're from, and they realise they have all of this shared past as well. And there's a reference to the captain from the start as well, where lie my maiden weeds. The captain's been looking after Viola's clothes. Let's not ask what he's been doing with them. all this time. Let's just say he's innocently hiding them. That's what we will say, okay? Nothing else. Don't write about. I'm just making a joke. I'm just making a naughty joke. Forget it. Right. Let's move on quickly. So it comes to, lady, you have been mistook, but nature to her bias drew in that you would have been contracted to a maid. Nor are you therein by my life deceived. You are betrothed both to a maid and man. So more of a paradox there as well. So the courtship was through Olivia and Viola as Cesario, wasn't it really? So that was, and then she's now married to Sebastian. But it all turns out well because effectively it's one and the same. Like they're the same person. Effectively, that persona was very similar, so it's fine. It all works out okay if you think of it like that. Shakespeare is really, you can explore this in terms of gender identity. It's fascinating to think about it. You know, what kind of messages Shakespeare sending out, and part of that is that we all perform different roles at different times in our lives, and gender in itself is a performance, isn't it, as well? So there's an idea that you could explore all of that there is a whole performative approach, isn't there, in terms of gender. You can actually look at that. Anyway, then be not amazed, right noble is his blood. If this be so, as yet the glass seems true, I shall have share in this most happy rack, as in a shipwreck. Boy, thou hast said to me 1,000 times. This is great as well because you get this term of address. You have, well, I'm trying to remember, Viola is addressed, even though Viola's identity has been revealed as a woman, Orsino still addresses her as boy. Again, interesting in terms of expressions of sexuality as well. And again, really interesting to explore that as a theme. Where did I go? I was going to say about the woman's weeds again. So again, this is what I mean about a performative aspect of gender, isn't it? It's just you associate men and women with certain clothes, but you can actually deconstruct that whole idea. That's what's happening in this play, effectively, isn't it? Now, this bit, I never really noticed this bit in most times I've seen it. I've seen 12th Night loads of times, different versions of it, live and adaptations of it for film and TV and stuff. And maybe they cut this line a lot of the time, because I don't remember this. He, upon some action, is now endurance at Malvolio's suit. So, in an unseen moment in the play, the captain who rescued Viola has upset Malvolio in some way, and Malvolio's had him imprisoned in something. What's going on with all that? Like, I don't know. It's just a little throwaway line. I'm not sure if it was really necessary, really, but maybe it's just Shakespeare trying to explain why the captain didn't show up to help Viola at any point in the play as well. Maybe he forgot about him until this point in it. I don't know, but he'll let him go. Basically, he'll get him. He shall enlarge him, so we'll get him released. Fetch Malvolio hither. It's also maybe a mechanism to get Malvolio into this last scene as well. Even though I think he could have appeared in this last scene anyway, but he's got to be released to get the captain released, so Viola gets her clothes back. So it does all make sense. So again, in terms of creating artificial reality, Feste, truly, madam, he holds Beelzebub at the stave's end as well as a man in his case may do. So still trying to maintain that Malvolio is mad. A madman's epistles are no gospels, so its skills not much when they are delivered. So still, an epistle is a letter. So saying, oh, okay, I'll read this letter out. Open it and read it. Look then to be well edified when the fool delivers the madman. By the Lord, madam. Now, I've seen versions of that when he kind of shouts it incoherently, which is quite fun, actually. How now, art thou mad? No, madam, I do but read madness. So she gets Fabian to read it instead. So Fabian reads out Malvolio's letter. The most significant bit, in my opinion, is the madly used Malvolio, how he signs it off. The valediction, the closing of a letter. Madly used Malvolio. This savours not much of distraction. So this letter, she's saying this letter actually sounds really coherent. So Feste was constructing a false reality by reading the letter out in that extreme way. Well, potentially extreme way, depends on the production. So again, we have this resolution of Orsino and Olivia are paired up with either twin. You shall from this time be your master's mistress. A sister you are she. So again, it's about people fulfill multiple roles in their lives. So she's going to be like a sister to, she's a sister-in-law to Olivia. So that close friendship she had with Cesario can now carry on in a different form, effectively. Again, you could fly with this in terms of gender and sexuality if you really wanted to explore this in your own production of it. You might be able to explore it within your own writing about it as well. Plenty of things to say. It's fascinating. Is this the madman? Notice Orsino accepts this label of Malvolio. Our Lord, this is the same. How now, Malvolio? Madam, you have done me wrong, notorious wrong. So there's a bit of incrementum there as well. He has the letter that he'd found in the garden. Pray you peruse that letter. You must not now deny it is your hand. Write from it if you can, in hand or phrase. So you can't deny this. This is your handwriting. Alas, Malvolio, this is not my hand. It's not my writing. 'Tis Maria's hand. So this is where the deception is unravelled. So in this scene, there's a parallel between the ultimately harmless, when you think about it, harmless deception of Cesario, of Viola as Cesario, but then we have this other unravelling of deception around Malvolio. So Shakespeare, as he always does, is brings the subplot and the main plot together, and it's all woven together so skillfully as well. Interestingly, the letter at Sir Toby's great importance, in recompense thereof he hath married her. So we don't see this. We see this off. Well, we don't see it. It happens off stage. Sir Toby marries Maria, which is again really interesting because Maria is she was a servant, but now she's married Sir Toby. That makes her, does that make her Lady Maria? So she's effectively done what Malvolio wanted to do as a social climber, to think he's going to marry Olivia and rise in social status. But actually, it turns out Maria happens to do it, and it's her reward for deceiving Malvolio and coming up with the plan. It's very strange, isn't it, when you think about it? So it's another inversion. You've got something good happen to Maria who actually did something bad. But now that also means Maria is also related to Olivia because she is... Doesn't that make her Olivia's aunt? Oh, it's confusing. Oh, my word. Okay. Or cousin, at least. I don't know. Maybe he's not... Yeah, I think cousin was more interchangeable in that time, so it might be that Sir Toby was her uncle. That kind of makes sense more for the age rather than literally her cousin, I think. But anyway... I don't know, I might be wrong about that. Then, how with the sport for malice it was followed may rather pluck on laughter than revenge. So Fabian is downplaying it. It's litotes, it's understatement. The idea of saying it was more for fun rather than to be horrible. Then, alas, poor fool, how they baffled thee. So interesting how Malvolio has been made a fool. He has become a real fool, hasn't he? And better a witty fool than a foolish wit. Malvolio has been the foolish wit. And the fool even quotes the letter, some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrown upon them. It's not exactly the same words, but it's close enough. And we said that before, how that is such a genius, inverted kind of incrementum. So clever, that line. I was once saying this interlude, one Sir Topaz, so he's saying what his role was in fooling Malvolio. Again, another link to perception and reality. And he quotes Malvolio's words, Madam, why laugh you at such a barren rascal? And you smile not, he's gagged. And again, that links to Malvolio, very critical of Feste and wanted him to be dismissed. And we have this brilliant line. This is one of my favourite Shakespeare lines. And thus the whirligig of time brings in his revenges. And the whirligig is like a fairground ride, spinning round. So time loops round, and so revenge comes back to you. For those words, you've paid the price for those words that you said to me. I'll be revenged on the whole pack of you. But we don't actually get to see what that revenge ever is, so Malvolio, off he goes. Pursue him and entreat him to a peace. He hath not told us of the captain yet. So, like, basically, go after Malvolio because we need to find out where the captain is and we need to get that sorted out. Cesario come, for so you shall be while you are a man, but when in other habits you are seen, Orsino's mistress and his fancy's queen. So that last line, which I didn't highlight for some reason, links to, again, the perception of Cesario saying you're not going to be dressed like a man anymore, you're going to be dressed as a woman, and now you'll be seen as Orsino's queen, effectively. And everyone goes off, and Feste sings a song, which shall I sing to you? Yeah, no, I'm not really going to. When that I was and a little tiny boy, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, a foolish thing was but a toy, for the rain it raineth every day. Anyway, I'm not going to sing the whole thing. If people who've gone now will miss it, there's a point. Yeah, you see, if you left early, if you thought I was going to sing the whole song, I'm not singing the whole song, because I think this is actually a really significant bit, the last two lines. But that's all one. Our play is done, and we'll strive to please you every day. You have a crossing of boundaries here. Again, the lines between the play and the audience, the fiction and the reality are blurred because Feste addresses the audience directly and even refers to the play as a play itself. And we'll strive to please you every day. Did Feste know it was all artificial all along as a character? Is there sort of crossing, breaking of the fourth wall? They didn't call it that in Shakespeare's time here, but you've got definitely like a sense of, definitely a sense of that bridge between the play and the audience. Anyway, that is it. Our journey is done, our journey through this play, and I just want to say thank you for joining me again. And if you're doing exams on this soon, or not, or whatever you're doing, good luck with them and all the best from me. And I'll see you on the next one, maybe. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I will work that out myself. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. You can always write ideas of what you want and I will consider it. Goodbye and thank you. Sincerely, thank you. And good luck in everything you do.